you for joining us here in Budapest in Trafó House of Contemporary Arts and online. This event is part of our MODINA program. MODINA is Movement, Digital Intelligence and Interactive Audience. This is a Creative Europe project that we are part of with desk houses and academic institutions from 5 other European countries. And we had the pleasure to present 2 works tonight. Now Tokieda will be moderating a discussion with the artists who were showing us their work today. This was part of the MODINA showcase. And I give the floor to Marko, and please use the mics for the streaming.
Thank you for the introduction, and it's a pleasure to have all of you.
The pleasure is all ours. The pleasure is all ours.
Yes, so you have to talk to the microphone all the time. And the Gaitless team is here. Uroš, Krčadinac, Marko, Milić, and Patrick. And he's still moving. Liis,
Vares,
and Taavet, Jansen.
So, how do we start? Oh, there we go. So we had a chance to watch or experience both works today, and both were participatory, and I think that's okay. I have to tell about MODINA. What is MODINA? This is a Creative Europe project running for 3 years, and we're the cycle 2. We had 91 applications, and we were the 2 groups selected out of 5. So it's an honor to have you, really. And we had 2 months of residency, each of you in, where was it? Yeah.
Düsseldorf.
Yes, and in Taavet, and now we're touring in different venues in the partner dance centers, and here we are at Trafó. So, maybe just go straight to the topic, which is, because MODINA is about performance, movement, and AI. And how is your work related to AI or technology? I mean, maybe you could kind of summarize a bit, or AI, artificial intelligence, but also audience interaction, which is core part of both of your work. So maybe you can briefly talk about it.
Okay, thank you for your question. Our work deals with AI, it deals with movement, but in a sort of unexpected way. We wanted to explore how movement itself can fool an AI system. How can we, by moving, actually make AI confused? How can we, by moving, interfere with all these systems of AI-based surveillance and all these systems that we're surrounded with, and we're so saturated by AI, and everybody's so fascinated with AI, and talking about AI with such a huge enthusiasm, and we wanted to explore something different, how would it be possible to approach this whole thing a bit more from a critical angle, but also an angle that can be humorous in a way, how can movement be explored as a way to fool an AI system. So our basic idea came from a peculiar news story we heard a couple of years ago. It was about a group of bank robbers that robbed the bank by moving strangely, by fooling surveillance cameras powered by artificial intelligence, because these cameras were programmed to recognize human movements, human motions, human gait. That's why they're called gaitless, movementless. Human movements, and robbers developed a sort of choreography. Robbers developed strange ways of moving in order to fool these AI systems, to fool these systems of surveillance, to approach the bank, the entrance of the bank. They rolled, they crawled, they moved in a strange way, and by rolling in front of a bank, they managed to fool these automatic alarm surveillance systems and to rob the bank and to get away with the money and to not get caught. And it was really inspirational for us, especially because we come from Serbia, from the Balkans, so there's a huge tradition of Hajduks, these outlaws who fought all the empires that ruled over the Balkans. Also there's a tradition of anti-fascist partisans during the Second World War. So this idea of subversiveness and aesthetics that comes from subversiveness is something that's really Balkan-like and Serbian-like, and we wanted to play in line with this kind of tradition. So we developed a piece that actually invites the audience to come within the dance space and to try to fool these AI cameras, to try to move in a way that these Kinect sensors would not recognize as human movements. So that was the idea that we started developing the thing with. Marko, do you want to add something?
You said like the core things. Yeah. So I'm good. Thanks.
In our project, we didn't have any AI component at all. We were working with audience interaction, and interaction meaning collaboration. That how can we create, let's call it performance together with audience, and what can we do in mixed reality that we use VR headsets in our performance. So it's text-based performance where people in like a virtual world are building something together with us, and the audience is same time performer and spectator. So audience can become a performer if you want to, and switch back to spectators, and we are in a way like game leaders there, but we also don't know exactly what is going on. So like we explore mixed reality collaboration space. So that's like interaction part.
I wanted to add that maybe we use or try to use technology or want to work with the technology that way, that it will help us to see something that we don't see with our own eyes, or open up spaces that we are not able to go into. And I think we also actually use AI, but we are working, like also we discuss with the idea, or we, I don't know, use for the code, or that kind of as a little assistant or a helper, or to maybe further in the future to work together with AI to build up a dramaturgy or something like that. So that we will see in the future. Yeah.
So thank you, and I see like the two pieces are quite different, but I see like common topic that you create some kind of situation where like movement or choreography is generated, and you also like work a lot with the participants. And what was the most like surprising movement or choreography came from the participants?
For me, it was surprising that they want to participate, because the invitation could be a bit tricky, which is also inviting people to have fun, but also inviting people to expose themselves in a way that, for example, AI is a bit like a murky area that you also train it, you don't know where your data is going and how they could be distributed. So it's a bit like I have a lot of like not really big trust when I'm interacting these kind of setups. So I was surprised that they will so joyfully do it. So for me that's quite amazing. And I usually like the most when people dance for themselves. So they don't really do it for the goal of winning something, which I know it's very hard. I mean, this is really like level up. But when people are not looking at the screen, but we had some dancers in Düsseldorf and they were really dancing kind of for their own joy. And I think that was really winning everything, kind of, like winning the moment for me. So that's the most surprising and most beautiful thing, yeah, for me.
They kind of subverted the gamification that we gave them as a setup, and that was really beautiful. It was meant a subversion.
You also did it yourself, because we work with Patrick in Mirevi, and we tried it and tested. So you were one of the first one who tried it, and we were quite inspired by your moves. So I would say also you were the one who brought it. Like it's also one of my favorite moments that we were testing at Mirevi.
Yeah, I think one of the interest dynamics in this piece is the first maybe 10 seconds you watch at the screen how much time it is over and will be my movement recognized by the system. But then you remember I had the chance to win some money or art piece, and then kicks the gamification part, and you get lost in the dance and try to trick the AI, and don't watch at the mirror or the screen how it will be looked for the other guys in the room. So yeah, I think this is another interesting dynamic.
You somehow get to watch yourself as much as the AI is watching you. So all these eyes around you feels kind of weird, sort of the multi-gaze.
For us, I think to get people in the boat, because we had the headsets, and I think that was in Tallinn in spring when it did it, that was our main goal, like how to make the space or the invitation like that way that people would put the headsets on. And because we had the big experience before from our other works that's the main thing, that people have had like bad experiences and they don't want to put the headset on, and so we work with that, and I think we managed. And now going on, I think every audience is different, every culture is different, and what was surprising or like beautiful moments when we did also like one-on-one sessions in Tallinn, that how this kind of connection happened through this kind of mixed reality space where you didn't, I don't know, I as a director or a performer or not visible in my body, how I met through like this kind of language or thought space with a person who was physically moving in a space where there were only thoughts or words, and we kind of had a journey together, and we had different audiences, and I remember that this international audience in Estonia, there were not many people who kind of had this trippy kind of adventure going on. And after that, they really said that they would need a space where to calm down, because they kind of had this feeling of being in a therapy session or something, you know, like, and it's really individual, I think, this experience.
Yeah, like I don't have much to add, but we are working with movements from inside and also from outside, that the audience is watching. They're sitting around while people with headsets are kind of performing in the center. So we are in constant struggle or like battle for whom we are making this performance, for ones who are inside or for ones who are outside. And like how to find that balance is like a continuous exploration for us. That if we pay too much attention for outside, then people with a headset are, I don't know, I don't want to say bored, but like like a weaker experience, and if we really like focus what's happening in the VR world and outside the audience, it's like what we are doing here, like what the heck is going on. So like for us it's like hard to say like how to people make them move. Like it's a movement happens somewhere else.
Thank you. And I'm really curious, like there was like topic about like testing, and I think that's really essential for creating installation work and designing the experience for the participants. I don't know if like you are already like familiar with this kind of practice of like creating something and testing it on the way, because that's probably somewhat different from like creating a stage performance or more exact choreography. And how was that during the MODINA residency?
You mean testing? The question?
Yeah, like this process of like creating, and also like you have to have testing person.
We decided from the beginning on that we will keep the process open, that we hardly did anything just among ourselves. Like from the beginning on, if we had the setup working, we had test audience coming in and we had interviews with them afterwards. And we did like one test, and interview, another test, and an interview, and then we had like, they came in couples and came three of them together. So we wanted to give it, to explore what can we do with the setup. But we have an engine, but we don't know how to use it. No, we don't know. And that's, we wanted to explore it together with our test audience.
Yeah, and as we have multiplayer mode that people are sharing the virtual space, so you cannot, if you're alone there, you can't really fully play, because you can handle like over things there, and it's like a shared space. That's why we also needed more than one person to be in the space.
There was something for me interesting about testing, because it came from the desire to be kind of pragmatic about the time. So what we did when we were working with Milić was that we were thinking how much time we have to develop something for real, and then see what could be rational in that time. So the main work was actually with Milić in the studio spaces where we were building the software and also the whole performance idea. And then testing was how to reduce it, because we were sparkling with a lot of ideas, and then it became, if we have this amount of time, maybe we could test it if we really make it quite simple, and then develop it from there with the time we have. So we established it quite quickly, like in a week. We were developing the whole idea.
And then we continued to develop and get further, playing around, seeing where can it go. But we really had an amazing help from the people from Milić, and later from the people from Dance House. So the collaboration went really, really smoothly. We're really grateful for the help.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. Do you have anything to add? I mean, like, so from the like really like as a technical partner, like how did it work? Like you were asked to develop something specifically, or do you have like brainstorming together?
But maybe in the first period of the workshop week, or I call it workshop week, we have some brainstorming to develop more the idea of the piece together, and then the technical part will develop here. And I think we have a good friendship with Dance House that developed over years in different projects, and this is maybe the most biggest effort in this
Thanks so much. I want to ask like specific questions for like each performance and for Gaitless. I was curious, like the last part you had this blackout. Was it part of Gaitless or something different? It was really beautiful. I really enjoyed it, and it kind of like reminds me of I think it was James Turrell. He had this piece that has like really low light, and you have to like watch it for like 10 minutes until you start to see the figure. And it was really nice to see the body in that sense. And I want to hear a little bit more about the idea of the performance.
Thank you. Krčadinac. Yeah, we wanted to play with something more subtle after the initial stage where people could enter the stage and try to fool the AI by moving, and all these ideas of dancing being a form of camouflage, choreography being created by camouflage. We wanted something more subtle, like what would happen if all these AI systems died, if all these computers, surveillance systems, stuff like that, all of a sudden died, and we're left just with ourselves, just with our thoughts, just with our senses.
Yeah, with that something that you were also mentioning before that was quite strong for me, that with the time of protests and unrests and like almost kind of conflicts, there is a big pressure of using technology almost to harm. So we developed this idea before there was this big kind of blackouts happening in France and Spain that happened. So it came before.
We actually had a blackout in Serbia yesterday. There was a huge protest in Serbia, and the government shut down the electricity in the city where the protest took place.
They shut down the water, which is
the water was shut down because the electricity.
There, it's like a big topic that we're coming from, and we're quite influenced by it. But this idea of a blackout was trying to stay in the dark and thinking about these efficient ways of taking things from us, and this quite simple way to cut it. So it was like reduction again, like reducing. So blackout seemed like one of the...
Yeah, what if we could live with less?
And what if we are forced?
Yeah.
I have a question to you, May I ask a question? About the same thing, about last scene. Why did you choose to have electronic sound? Why not a song? Like, why not a cappella song? I mean, it's really everything amplification and just make, music yourself.
Let's switch to a cappella in Bucharest.
Actually, it's quite cool what you were asking, because the motives for trying this would develop in Bucharest, and in Ljubljana we will have a DJ set. So it's kind of going, so we will test also what fits the most. This one was almost like, in my feeling, like the song To Electricity. So it felt kind of close to offer it. And that was the main motivation behind it. But we will test two versions, which is songs plus the DJ set after. So let's see how it works. We will need to negotiate it among us, because we need to improve it as an idea.
The original idea was to use music from an Indonesian band. Yeah.
Super amazing band.
But I wanted to say that for me, this darkness, I was robbing a bank or a museum during that time in my imagination. That was the time to really rob something in the darkness.
We were saying that it's the time when you're not by any surveillance.
I was doing bad things.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Now I have a question for you. What did you...
For me, the concept was very clear, so I had practiced how to move, and then was the time to act. No, I was in my imagination. I thought, so we are now imagining everybody in the space, we are kind of going to the robbery. You know, like I didn't have to act it really out, but in my imagination.
We were really happy when we saw the robbery in Louvre. I mean, not happy, that's not really, probably not the right words, but we were like, wow, this happened like a week before we are going to have our piece about the robbery. Yeah, so it's really talks about something in reality.
So I will ask you a specific question to you as well. I was really curious, like you mentioned a little bit after the, how would I say, performance or performative act or whatever, activation. Or, you have this like Russian like text also in the space, and do you also like plan to work something like more like site-specific or something that also like I remember you were like working with poetry and so on, and I'm curious like how this like, because text carries a lot and how you're approaching it, if you can talk about it.
Yeah, we will have in December, we will spend all month in Dortmund, in academy, theatre and physicality, to start to work with content. Till now, we have been working more with engine, that let's see what can we do with engine, and we are really far from knowing what you can do with an engine, what we've been developing. But now we are going to focus more on the content and what it is, what the piece is about, and how we deliver it. Because there's people can come and go whenever we want to, so we have no control of which part people will see. And how, and also what we had a discussion today, like what people who are observing, what they are doing, what they are following, and like what is going on there. But like, so this is what we will start working. We had like different opinions among ourselves also. I'm thinking more of poetry maybe, but also been discussing like how, you know, to have it more abstract, like how a text can be organized in space or
yeah, and I'm also still interested about the choreographical point of view, like what can be fixed or what's the role of a performer, or if you're carrying like you're delivering thoughts, and what is the choreography there. And what's the meaning of the choreography from outside and from inside. But I think this is really needs like more like performers, or we have to go to this mode that there are certain performers that are training or practicing for that. Then it's not like random that the audience come and they try something, but then we can work on that. But what you asked about is, for example, the Russian language or differences of languages, that is something that we read, that's also a space. What language, not what is the meaning of the word, or if it's in English, it's like for everybody. We know it's not, for most of us, it's not native language, and we can kind of maybe put a mask on, or it's not so close. But this is something that we found out in Estonia, that if you put on, like, it was a Russian song that was very, like, it used to be a very good song, it's from your youth, yeah, and, but now the language is kind of banned, but there are also Estonians who are speaking, actually, mother tongue is Russian, and and we had this experience that for some people, you put the language in, and it was like war going on for them. There was Estonian words and Russian words together, and it was the scene came, you know, like, oh, why were these words, Russian words there? And for another person whose mother tongue is Russian, but she said that for after many years, she felt accepted in the space, in that space. You know, being alone there with this language. So that's what we also wanted to try it out here. So, and let's see what languages and how we're gonna go on.
Thank you. I'm just curious, like, you both have this kind of installation type work, but also like you were present, and it's not like, you know, someone's guiding to the experience. Like you were like kind of MC, and like was there like also like a dramaturgy in this sense, and were you like performing, or were you like there as yourself and having kind of enjoying the moment?
Why not both?
Maybe but it's the kind of, it's not even the question, but I wanted to say that for me, the thing that I really wanted to work on was Uroš dancing. Yeah, and I was imagining that would be a big part of the piece. Like, it wasn't kind of that big over the time, and he's not happy so much. But for me, that was something that I was thinking that would give me a key to enter into collaboration, because usually this is what I like to do, and to see people how they move. For me, it's a big inspiration. So that was for me the key when he said like yes, which was quite, I would say, great for me to do it. So I was a bit like, okay, let's go in that direction. And for me, that's the part that I'm kind of feeling the most in this. So I'm quite thankful. I don't know if it was even a question, but I wanted to say that.
Thank you, Marko. Marko is to blame for making me do it. I never wanted to do it. I'm a computer scientist by education. I never wanted to dance. I never danced in my life. I always thought of myself, that's the thing I'm least talented for. But he made me do it, and he said that we're doing an anti-dance piece, so you'll do your anti-dance. So I did it now, and okay, what can I say? Thank you, Marko.
For us, I think that we are performing, we're performing it. That we pretend to be ourselves, but at the same time we are performing it. We calculate and we negotiate what we are saying, you know, what people need to know before we start. And we did it open, how we frame it, use a casual, blah, 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 kind of a style of delivering it. But at the same time, we are aware that while we both have a dancer background, then it's also, if we go on stage to fix the headset, I'm totally aware of where I'm watching, like how there's no need to move my head while I'm scrolling in the menu, but I'm still doing it because of the choreographic purposes, you know. So and that's our interloper is also dancer, Norbert Poppe, also from Germany, and he is also a dancer choreographer. So we found it really useful for us that how to invite people move in VR space, and this is a task for choreographer. If interaction designer would have done that, there would be arrows, buttons, you know, like move there, wait, you know, but instead of we just put the word 5 meters further, so you have to go to pick it up. There's like no need for arrow, no instructions. Like, so that's what we use, how the choreographic experience, like how to make people want to move around in the space.
But we still have to be aware that we will not take the, as you also show through your body, but not to be too much a performer that you kind of show how to do it, you know. to keep the space for me, so it's still like important to keep the space open for everybody. That and yeah, so that is the question. Like, what's the role of a performer there in that kind of space? How visible or invisible it has to be. Yeah, I'm very much interested in dramaturgy, but I think it that kind of third space that we're working in, I really don't want to take this classical power relationship that is usually in theatre, that I of course I still know more, but if I want to I really want to use technology to build more like democratic space, not again that I have the power, I have the technology, and I will make you move how I want, and that's a tricky part.
Thank you. I can see that it's like, as a participant or an audience, it feels easy in a way, but at the same time I start to see like, okay, like there are like so many things like crafted, and especially like Marko said about Uroš presenting at first. I really loved it. It's I think it's for everyone. I think it's a nice way to like go in. Not that like your movement is this or that, but it's something that is like really inviting and not like feeling, oh, I have to do it this way. I think like you said, but yeah, it feels like really inviting in a really good way. So I'm sure like so many like decisions made.
You see, Marko, it's not intimidating, it's inviting.
So we're going to be closing soon, but do you have any like announcements or anything? This is time to promote.
I want to thank the audience, I want to thank all of you for participating in this project. I think it's really beautiful that all of you came here and became part of this interactive space, because we wanted to make it as open as possible. And to see that many people being part of this really warms my heart.
I have a question which is concerned with this. I think it's an ambition that's present in both projects, even though in very different ways, to move people. And I think it's about moving them physically, but also moving them not only through the minds, but like in very different ways. And I'm curious, like, what you think's at stake in this ambition to move people for you, like also personally in each project. And also, I would still try to connect it back to the question about the relationship of technology and the human body, and the fact that I think both projects point to this fact that, we are human bodies, but at the same time we are becoming data bodies, and we are moving through different spaces, like physical space, but virtual space, and also technology is becoming more tactile in many different ways. And so I'm just interested in what's at stake in it for you, like maybe in this moment, or maybe thinking more towards the future, or where you're intending to take this project. It's also a bit like a political question and philosophical question at the same time.
Maybe I would just say what I had when you asked the question, because I think that bodies are coming because of, I don't know if because, but still the more technology we have, the more passive the bodies are coming. We don't have to move anymore. Basically the food is coming to us, everything is, you just call and it's there. And so for me that's the question, like if I'm a performer or a dancer, I'm really trained in a specific way, and for me I feel that it's not connecting to a person that doesn't have that kind of training, or where do we actually connect? Or is it that I show what I can do and that acts your body? It's like kind of, you also feel it, the movement in you. So that has been for me the question. So I'm like very positively going like towards technology. I would like how it cannot activate. We tend to use it in that way also, that what it takes away from us. And but the question is how we use the technology, not what the technology is doing. You know, it doesn't have its own like intention. We have created it, and we can use it how we think. So maybe we can think it over. And I am personally, I have the background working with mixed people with mixed abilities. So because of that, I also feel that it's not only the physical space that it has to be accessible. It's how people can be in a space together. So maybe you're not physically able to come, or you don't have to. All the ideas don't have to be in a physical space together. That people, the bodies are here. But can the art space be like somehow connected with other like physical spaces, and we can still get bodies connected, but without like physical body being in there. So that has been my background or my interest, or also the future, I think.
I so many ideas that come up with this question. One is the coming from the streaming theater background a bit. Then I have a feeling that if we are doing it here, like downstairs, we talk about how to connect physical and virtual worlds, yada. But actually it's not true that this thing works also when you put the headset on in your home. But we develop it. Our developer lives in Berlin, so if there's like updated software, we all put the headset on and we meet in the same space. We have a log file running and we can check. I can pass him on the fort and he can give me back, and then we can stretch and see like, okay, everything is working, while the spatial anchors are on the right position, and then we all log off. And so where were we? Where did we go? And at the same time, we are digitally so connected that I think it's too late to talk about the presence or liveness, only meaning that it's physical. I think it has to be hybrid, or it is hybrid already, that we are physically present, but at the same time, something whoop, like in my pocket, and like I'm thinking of my son who's like 2,000 kilometers away. And so this, our presence is hybrid already. So in that sense, we are really like so connected like through technology. And what I like, how art could use it, or art could use it to distribute the idea.
Maybe I would just say from what was for me quite amazing in kind of getting ideas from what we did together was the idea of motivation, like why you move and what moves you and what makes you dance. That was quite interesting. And it feels to me that technology was an excuse to take that question for me, where the motivation is coming from. And the more we were working, the more a clearer idea was for me that visibility was a big topic, especially with this kind of surveillance, and there was this echo of visibility in it. And also in dance, usually we made it to be visible for the people, and I was also kind of brought up with that idea. So I was a lot thinking how beautiful it is to get away from that idea of dance, making dance to be visible for the audience especially, because that's just one part of the dance that I feel today really took a lot of power from me personally, but I think in general. And then it was beautiful to think of other kinds of dances that are not made to be seen, but made together with people. They have different qualities, more like motivation or kind of your own personal reasons to move. instead of being this kind of projected for something. So that was something that stayed in my mind. And when you ask it, I think this is quite exciting for me. So I think I will go in that direction more, like not really being visible and something in that area.
I was always fascinated with glitches, with these spaces where technology is not working perfectly. And I always thought that these kind of spaces or these kind of moments are the moments where we are allowed to be the most human and the most free. And in today's world that Shoshana Zuboff describes as the age of surveillance capitalism, controlled by all these large corporations and controlled by data, or us drowning in the sea of data. I think it's really, really important to explore these areas of these glitches where technology is actually breaking down these kind of liminal spaces, and us learning how to be visible within these spaces, invisible to technology but visible to each other. I think it's the emotional imperative of our times.
I'm aware that I'm yapping already, but I still want to throw in that working with VR and mixed reality, that we somehow approach that this is something new what to experience. But I claim that we've been doing it thousands of years. I mean, like all shamanistic practice is actually like the same thing. Take right amount of shrooms and like this all happens to you anyway. So like we have practice as human to be in several energetic levels together. Theater is all about that. Like it's like how to trigger people's or somebody's imagination. I think this is what the art knows very well, especially theater knows very well. And in that sense, I think this mixed reality or new technology is not so different in that what we've been doing anyway.
Thank you so much. And this is the last session of today, but we will continue tomorrow with more activities. Taavet has a workshop. And
you also have a workshop.
Yes, I also do a talk and workshop. So if you are watching online, please come tomorrow at Trafó. At what time is it?
Mine is 10.
10, so we have to wake up early and we'll join. But thank you so much. It was great to hear insight after experiencing this. And thank you, Trafó, for hosting. Thank you, Modina, for having me here. And see you tomorrow.